Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Dean of the Annenberg School of Communication and Journalism, Ernest J. Wilson III.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the USC Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism on a glorious, glorious day. And welcome especially to the grand opening ceremony for Wallis Annenberg Hall. We're really honored to have so many distinguished guests in the audience today and great friends of the university who have come to spend some time with us. And I'm delighted to welcome President Ciel Max Nikias and the First Lady, Nikias. Please stand. Thank you, sir. I'd also like to welcome John Mork, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and his wife, Julie. I would now like to introduce the trustees of the university, and as I announce your name, please remain standing so that you may be recognized as a group. Wallace Annenberg. Greg Brakovich. And please hold your applause now. Ramona Capella, there's Ramona. Alan Kasdan. Christopher Cox, Frank Cruz, Mal Curry, Verna Dauterive, Michelle Engerman, Helen Galen, Stanley Gold, Jane Harmon, Ray Irani. No clapping now, even from the front here.
Lisa Barquette, you missed.
Yes. Lisa Barquette. Gloria Kaufman, Lydia Kennard, John Kumiaski, Ron Lane, Mitchell Liu and his wife Dina, William Lyon, Kathleen McCarthy, Dominic Eng, Bob Patchett, Jane Popovich, Bruce Raymer, Lorna Reed, Ed Roski, Jeff Smullian, Bill Wood, and Dick Steigermeiger and his wife, Bobby Ann. Ladies and gentlemen, the trustees. Also joining us is my friend Amy Ross, president of the USC Alumni Board of Governors. We're also honored that the senior administrators of this great university are here. So please stand as I announce your name and remain standing so that you may be recognized as a group. Al Cecchio, Senior Vice President for University Advancement, and his wife, Sue. Bob Abels, Senior Vice President for Finance and Chief Financial Officer, is here with us. Todd Dickey, Senior Vice President for Administration. Carol Moch Amir, General Counsel and Secretary of the University, and Tom Sales, Senior Vice President for University Relations. Ladies and gentlemen, our senior administration. We're also lucky to have some of my fellow deans with us representing their schools. I will go through their name and please we'll recognize them at the end. Karen Sims Gallagher, Dean of the USC Rasir School of Education. Jack Knott, Dean of the USC Saul Price School of Public Policy, and his wife, Dean Cherry Short. Catherine Quinlan, Dean of USC Libraries. Robert Rasmussen, Dean of the USC Gould School of Law. Abishai Sedan, Dean of the Herman Ostrow School of Dentistry at USC. Pete Vandeveen, Dean of the USC School of Pharmacy. Ladies and gentlemen, the deans. I would also like, we have a number of representatives from the Annenberg School Board of Counselors, the people who provide us such sage advice And I would like the entire members of the Board of Counselors who are with us today to please stand and be recognized. Please do. Thank you. I also want to recognize our two USC Annenberg Directors. These are the people who actually run the school, the Communication School and the Journalism School. They're both fresh persons this year, recently appointed, and already doing a wonderful job. Willow Bay, Director of the School of Journalism, and Sarah Benet Weiser, Director of the School of Communication. If they would stand. I would also like to take this opportunity to salute all of the wonderful Annenberg faculty and staff and students who are here today, and a special shout out to my wonderful team that translated blueprints and ideas into the glorious building you see in front of you today. So a round of applause for all of our Annenberg colleagues. And last but certainly not least, a very special welcome to my wife, Professor Dr. Ciel Wilson. Let me just share one thought with you before we move on. And it's about a conversation, a building, and a conversation. In 2010, Wallace Annenberg and I began a conversation. We reflected together on the importance of journalism and communication for the future of democracy in the United States of America, and she described her deep commitment to the eternal values of openness, inclusion, and transparency. She articulated a vision of these values which would inform the design and the purposes of any new home for the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. This conversation that we had spread to the Annenberg community as a whole. Students, faculty, staff were engaged in that conversation, and they embraced the ideas of openness, and they saw the need for 21st century spaces that are not containers, but are connectors, that are places of innovation, not places of inhibition. Soon these values that we talked about in our conversations were reflected in designs and blueprints, and then they were reflected and expressed in mortar and glass and wood. Wallis Annenberg Hall, built with these values, these ethics, this openness, will shape students in this great school for generations to come. And future conversations, shaped by the school, will lead to actions that make the world a better place. And so on behalf of the students of today and students of tomorrow, for generations and generations and generations to come, I thank you, Wallace Annenberg, from the bottom of my heart. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Dean Varun Soni. Dr. Soni is the Dean of Religious Life. He is an adjunct professor in the School of Religion, and I am very proud to say also a university fellow here at Annenberg. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and colleague, Dean Varun Soni.
In 1874, the English polymath Sir Francis Galton coined the term nature versus nurture in his quest to understand personal identity formation. Since then, scholars have vigorously debated the impact of nature versus nurture by asking the question, are we the product of our genes or are we the product of our environment? But the nature-nurture debate overlooks a third transformative factor, and that is narrative. We don't control nature or nurture in our lives. We don't choose where we were born or how we were raised. But we are the authors of our own narrative, and we are constantly writing the pages of our own story. Ultimately, our lives are defined by the stories that we tell about ourselves and about our world. Stories of meaning and purpose, stories of hope and redemption, stories that heal us and make us whole again. Today, we come together to inaugurate and consecrate Wallis Annenberg Hall, a sacred space for storytelling and a sanctuary for storytellers. For it is right here at Wallis Annenberg Hall that the ancient craft of storytelling will converge with the future of digital media. And it is right here at Wallis Annenberg Hall that the spirit of creativity, innovation, and possibility will animate and inspire new stories about journalism, communication, and diplomacy. Winston Churchill famously said, "We shape our buildings and then our buildings shape us." May this magnificent building shape our school and our society so that we place communication at the center of our lives and all that we do. May this stunning architecture and inventive layout foster an atmosphere of collaboration, cooperation, and collegiality for all who learn, teach, and grow here. May the Annenberg Foundation continue to shine as a global beacon for education, empowerment, and the arts. And may we all say together, amen.
Thank you, Varun. It is now my pleasure to introduce the 11th president of the University of Southern California, Dr. Ciel Max Nikias. President Nikias has been at USC since 1991. He's done it all as a professor, director of national research centers, dean, provost, and now president. In addition, he holds faculty appointments in both electrical engineering and the classics. Under his leadership, USC is successfully advancing the most ambitious fundraising campaign in the history of the university. And it is worth noting, I might add, that Wallace Annenberg made the gift for this building in honor of President Nikias' inauguration as president. And on a personal note, I really do want to thank Max for literally making this space available for our new transformative building. It was his decision, and in a biased way, I think he made a great decision. Join me in welcoming the president of the university. Thanks, Max.
You did a great job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Arnie. Hello, everyone. Wallace, we made it. You see how beautiful the building is? I tell everybody, it gives us 1,000 years of history we don't have in the looks. But I would like to welcome all of you to this very special ceremony as we dedicate Wallis Annenberg Hall. This building stands at the heart of our university, and that is no coincidence. In the digital age of information, communication and journalism lie at the heart of human connectivity. Today, as we embrace the birth of a revolutionary building dedicated to advancing the fields of communication and journalism, we also embrace a philanthropist dedicated to advancing the lives of our students, Wallace Annenberg. Her dedication is rooted in an unwavering drive to promote access and connection. For Wallace, access means students having the latest digital storytelling tools, the latest technology at their fingerprints. It means creating a building that enables students to showcase their work and better connect them to the campus and the outside community. And true to Wallace's student-centered focus, it means establishing an environment that puts students front and center. Wallace's focus, her vision for what the Annenberg School could become, has crafted a building truly aimed at students and the advancement of their imagination. Here, students will acquire legacy skills and legacy ethics while learning how to use modern platforms. They will balance the demand for instantaneous information with the time-tested traditions of storytelling. They will, in a time of convergent media, master all domains of contemporary journalism and move between them fluently. 1 minute students may be doing a story for the Annenberg radio news and then have to jump to editing video for Annenberg television news, and a short time later find themselves creating a multimedia piece for Neon Tommy. Finally, they can do all this under one roof. In fact, 70% of the Annenberg School's classes are now conducted within these cutting-edge spaces, connecting students to the most relevant digital tools in the richest of learning environments. Students will produce compelling content across multiple disciplines for multiple audiences, an ability, digital media literacy, that's critical for USC students to possess. Perhaps no other place on campus is better suited to promote literacy in digital technology than this Wallis Annenberg Hall. Thanks to Wallace's visionary support, Annenberg students will have access to the digital tools of the future. And while some have argued that the tools and devices of our digital age are isolating us, Wallace Annenberg Hall was in part designed to counterbalance this dynamic of division. Bearing testimony to Wallace's vision of access and connectivity, the building is full of physical spaces that encourage collaboration and cooperation. It is also home to some of the most creative minds, faculty, and students who will push limits of technology, communication, and journalism. They will redefine how we connect, how we think, and how we access information and experience our days. With the opening of Wallace Annenberg Hall, we are creating singular scholarly experiences for our students. On all levels, there is a new vigor coursing through the school, and I would like to acknowledge a few key individuals who are responsible for Annenberg's resurgence. The Annenberg School would not be where it is today without the inspiring leadership of Dean Wilson and the work of our new directors. He does deserve a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, Arnie. Thank you. Our School of Journalism is now led by the trailblazer journalist, Willow Bay, who brings a wealth of practical experience. Willow's diverse body of work, from producer and anchor to acclaimed author, is extraordinary and is a true testament of her dedication to journalism. She is an asset to the university and a role model for our Annenberg School students. Working together, Dean Wilson with Willow, and of course Sarah, who is the new director of the communications of the School of Communication, together they will be infusing a spirit of excitement, adventure, and resilience into the Annenberg School. But this new chapter for USC would not have been possible without our dear friend, colleague, and benefactor, Wallace Annenberg. As the chairman of the board, president, and CEO of the Annenberg Foundation, she has made a wide-ranging impact across society in education, communications, arts and culture, medical research, and beyond. Through her profound foresight and leadership, support from the Los Angeles office of the Annenberg Foundation is transforming the face of our city. From the Annenberg Community Beach House to the Wallace Annenberg Center for Performing Arts, Wallace is truly both a patron and steward of Los Angeles. She not only makes LA a better place to live, but our university a better place to learn. As USC's longest-serving trustee, Wallace has provided strong guidance and counsel to this university for over 40 years. And that is why we refer to Wallace as the Dean of the USC Board of Trustees. That's your title, Wallace. You are the Dean of our board. Throughout the years, her sustained support for the Annenberg School has allowed it to flourish. Today, as we cut the ribbon and open Wallis Annenberg Hall, we forever link her name at USC, as well as her enduring legacy here. And in doing so, we forever give Annenberg students access to a world of exciting possibilities, where they will create and convey timeless stories that connect and chronicle the human journey. And for this, Wallace, we will be forever grateful. Thank you. Wallace, would you like to say a few words?
Most of the time, when you want to build a building, you consult an architect. This building started with a vision. It started with Dean Wilson saying, "What if USC Annenberg had a facility that imagined journalism's future rather than imitating its past?" It started with the idea that the real future of journalism, the students here, should learn and train and innovate in the kind of 21st century newsroom, the kind of interactive multimedia incubator that will probably be commonplace in 10 or 15 years. It started with the notion that a great school of journalism and communication leads the way, serves as a laboratory for change, doesn't just anticipate the future, but wills it into being. These are grand claims, I know, but thanks to the leadership of Dean Wilson and the crucial support of President Nikias, thanks to the faculty and above all the students here who shaped every inch of this new building and the way it functions, I believe these claims are more than justified. The truth is, this is a decisive moment for traditional journalism. Print readership is declining, television viewership is eroding. The choice is simple: innovate or die. Or as a smart Silicon Valley entrepreneur might put it, when your industry is destined to be disrupted, your best course is to disrupt it yourself. That's why Wallis Annenberg Hall is designed to mix all kinds of media together: TV, radio, print, online. Because in a world that's fully wired and interactive, journalists can no longer survive if they stay in their own little cubby holes, unable to spread their stories around every possible platform. It is designed to give students informal and open spaces where they're almost forced to rub shoulders, to collaborate, to observe, and learn from one another. Because news is now moving so fast, reporters have to be synergistic, not static. USC Annenberg already has the second largest newsroom in Los Angeles. Now it has what I believe to be the best. As well as a forum that was partially modeled on the Globe Theater and will serve as a town square for everything from informal coffees to speaking with some of the top journalists in the country. In many ways, this is a building whose time has come. Dean Wilson, President Nikias deserve all of our praise and gratitude for their tireless effort and their crystal clear vision. And may I say, in tribute to the architects who extended that vision. It is beautifully well built as well. Some of you may know that I have been closely associated with journalism all my life. That is why this building was so important to me. As a supporter of this project, that it be built with students' needs in mind. And I'd like to say to the students here today, this is your playground, your place to take risks, to try new approaches, to test what works and what doesn't. History is moving faster than ever before. The world's becoming smaller than ever before. Your job is to chronicle it, make sense of it for the rest of us. Our job is to give you the best tools we can, the most cutting-edge facilities imaginable. We need you. We're depending on you. And personally, I can't think of a more worthy investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wallace. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We have a little present for you.
Oh, how wonderful. At least you didn't give me the horse's ass. Thank you, Matt. Beautiful.
I said to Wallace, we need to give you this horse and to remind you of our football games. And she says, at least you didn't give me the horse's ass.
That's a hard act to follow. That's a hard act to follow. But I think we'll be able to do that. I want to say to the students also that you've heard Wallace Annenberg speak so movingly about your charge for the future, for your tasks for the future. So undergraduates, master's candidates, PhD candidates, you have this great gift here before you. Your challenge and your responsibility as students is to heed Wallace Annenberg's call to action. Our next speaker, Alex Wint, is a wonderful representative of this call to action. Alex joined MSNBC in 1999 and hosts, as many of you know, the nationally broadcast show MSNBC Weekends with Alice Witt. She has hosted both daytime and primetime shows. She has reported from the field during presidential election seasons. She's traveled all over the world, taking the Annenberg skills and values with her. She also produces and hosts the weekly Office Politics series and has contributed to NBC Nightly News and the Today Show. What an accomplished career, and what a wonderful representative of the Annenberg graduates. So let us welcome her to the podium and welcome her back to USC.
This is nothing short of cool. Can I just say this? When these guys walked in, playing, that was it. I went, okay, I've totally arrived. One thing I do want to share with you, I'm looking at my friend Willow Bain. She's looking at me thinking, oh God, where's Alex going with this? And the reason she's saying that is because I want to tell you that some of my most fond memories well, not USC, although I'm glad she's part of that now, but at MSNBC was actually sharing an anchor desk with Willow. And the three things that come to mind when I think about that time was very smart, very cool, and very fun. So you are so lucky to have her here heading up the journalism program, and I couldn't be more thrilled for all the students. When I think about USC, I think about those that impressed me and motivated and inspired me. Names like Kenneth Aller Smith come to mind. Claire Spiegel, who was a noted investigative reporter for the Los Angeles Times, she taught me a class and taught me how to really think in those investigative journalist terms. And then there was Pete Noyes. He was a professor. And for those of you who know the Mary Tyler Moore Show and the Lou Grant character, legend has it that he was the inspiration for that character. In other words, he scared the hell out of all of us, you know? This rather gruff character who still had that twinkle in his eye. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but after my first class with him, a news writing class, I went up to him after the class, and we'd all been duly impressed and motivated and, somewhat intimidated by the class with him. And I don't know why I did this, but I went up to him afterwards. I said, I'm going to get an A in your class, after introducing myself. He looked at me with these piercing eyes, and he said, you're going to have to work for it. And I thought, oh, my gosh, what have I just done to myself? I've got a big bullseye on my back now. But what I did was work for it because he impressed me and inspired me so much. It was perhaps one of the most pivotal connections I made while a student at USC with a teacher, because I then, as he was a working professional at KNBC in Los Angeles, I then got an internship through his good graces and went on to get a paying job afterwards, and really that was what it was all about. So I constantly think that whenever I give a speech or have someone to thank, it is largely Pete Noyes. And it is a lot of that temperament that is what we get here with the professors. It is remarkable, and it's all about these people connections. However, I'm going to defer to this building because I was fortunate enough to take a hard hat tour here this summer. And I know exactly why I'm here, because I literally bounced over to Dean Wilson's office afterwards. I said, I cannot believe this place. I'm dying to go back to school just to get in here and see what they have. The reason I'm not behind one of those cameras like those cameramen back there is because while we had some adequate equipment and we were able to train and do all that, I didn't get it. I learned how to write, which was phenomenal. And I will tell all aspiring journalists that regardless of the technical skills that you will get in this building, and you most assuredly will get them here, you must always learn to write. It is the basis of everything in journalism and communications. It is the way that the technical and the written, they marry and they tell the stories. So I am responsible for hiring interns for my broadcasts back at 30 Rock every semester or so. And it is one of the criteria that I use to figure out who's going to come and work for me. But now, as Wallace so aptly said, it is the blending of all these different techniques, the technology, the writing, the insight that you need to have as a journalist to tell these stories. And I'm 1,000% confident the students here are being educated within the premier facility in this country. There is nothing like it anywhere. USC students are going to come out of this place, and you're going to be not only competitive with those who are also applying for your jobs, you're going to be heads and shoulders above the rest of them. So that is an incredible thing to be 100% certain of. I will say that there was a Syracuse University study that came out just last week, and it talked about the things that students felt were most helpful when they came out into the journalism world, in the real world. And I read through that, and it was very interesting to me because a lot of them felt like they were pretty well prepared with the technical skills, but not so much with the writing skills or with the live reporting skills, because that's harder to do. Again, putting all of that together inside of this university, no USC Trojan is going to be answering those questions that way. I know that. You need to get inspired by this kind of thing. You need to get inspired by being here, by rubbing shoulders, as was said, with your colleagues. I have so many incredible students and friends with whom I made my experiences here, and I'm grateful to that. They pushed me forward. My professors pushed me forward. These leaders here at this school pushed me forward, and I can't thank USC and the journalism program more for giving me a life that is a privilege. I get paid to keep track of what goes on in the world and talk about it. It is an absolute privilege and an honor that is today very much eclipsed by being here. So one parting thought is, as we go forward, now we've got the building, we'll check that off the list. Thank you very much. And my next suggestion, as the dean and I have talked about, would be, I need some company in New York. I'm kind of isolated out there, and I'm really tired of having to look at interns from, Columbia, Syracuse, NYU, and I'm like, give me the interns from USC, because I'm telling you something, come to me, you're hired. That's it. After this. So let's get the program going there and bring them on to 30 Rock and Midtown Manhattan. Thank you very much.
Now the moment we've been waiting for, the cutting of the ribbon.